our defendant looks like head back into a room to have some time with her attorney. So we might have a little bit of a delay here, but that will give us some time to explain this story as it is. I'm just making sure the judge hasn't come into court here. This is one of the more interesting stories I've covered in my entire career. This happened back on September 1st at a convenience store, a Sunoco, in the 800 block of Lovers Lane. Again, this was September 1st. You had a woman working in there, Gurinder Banwait. And I want to see who they call.
Yeah, we're ready. We're on the record and we don't have a defendant.
So they're talking about the defendant here. It is 56-year-old Gurinder Banwait. She was working in the convenience store when she claims there was a customer who was being violent and threatening her. That's when she pulled a gun. Now, when she pulled the gun as the clerk, and it looks like this is not going to be our, oh, it is the defendant here. This is her. When she pulled that gun, she meant to shoot the person who was making threats against her life, but it instead hit another customer, 48-year-old Torres Bruster, who died last week of his injuries. So her charges are now going to be increased. Let's take a listen live in Akron Court.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in future proceedings. Attorney Sin, we're hearing the negligent homicide, first-degree misdemeanor charge.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is our first opportunity to be in court. I have not had an opportunity to review the reports that the police department did in this case. We would like to put in a plea of not guilty at this time, and I would like to take the opportunity to investigate this case further. My client has no prior record. It is my belief that this is a tragic accident. I understand that the family of the victim has an attorney that I will reach out to and talk about insurance coverage and other issues that aren't really relevant for this hearing today. But on this misdemeanor of the first degree, I would like you to accept a not guilty plea and have this set for a pretrial, Your Honor. Lot this out to a judge, perhaps different than yourself, because I know you're sitting as the administrator or the assignment judge today.
Do you have anything?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Banwait, this is a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable up to $1,000, 180 days in jail. I am entering the plea of not guilty that your attorney just referenced. You were summoned for this court appearance today by the arresting officer. That officer used his discretion to request a summons. Your obligation under the summons was to show up to court today. You've done that. So I'm without any authority to change that summons, so you're going to remain out on summons status. That means you need to show up for all future court appearances. Your attorney will tell you when those appearances are. We'll find out now what court it's going to be assigned to.
Family has retained counsel, Your Honor. I'll make sure that we're at every court date and on top of this matter.
Judge Hamilton.
Okay, so it's going to Judge Hamilton's docket. Give the date. Oh, so you have to go to Judge Hamilton's court to get the date of the next court appearance. Ms. Banwait, if you don't show up on time to a future court appearance, your summons will become a bench warrant, and at the time that your warrant catches up with you, you would have to post bond. Do you understand that?
That's it.
Your Honor, my client has cooperated completely with this investigation. She will continue to do so.
All right, so Judge Hamilton's court will tell you when your next court appearance is.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Dan DeRose with 19 News here. Again, you're looking at a store clerk who's accused of pulling a gun out as she was working at the Sunoco in Akron back on September 1st. Claims that her life was being threatened by a customer. That customer has, however, gone on to be charged. That customer, the original customer that was causing the scene in the fight, was an Andre Lee, 34 years old. He has been charged with aggravated menacing. But whatever the comments were being made threatening her life, the defendant there, Banwait, pulled out a gun and somewhere in the process fired the gun, and it killed an entirely different customer. It shot 48-year-old Torres Bruster. He was in the hospital from September 1st until he died on October 18th, so more than a month in the hospital before he died on last week. That's why her charges have now been increased to, and I'm keeping an eye on our photographers out in the hallway now. We know the family of Mr. Bruster is not happy with the negligent homicide charge and the fact that she is now, as you heard the judge say, that she's been released on her summons. There is no bail, no bond set in this case, and she will have to appear for her next court date, which has not been set as of yet. But again, you just watched in just a bizarre story, a gas station clerk who was fearing for her life pulled out a gun, and it shot the wrong person and killed that man. Eventually it killed him, and she is now facing negligent homicide charges. We're going to keep tabs on this case as it moves forward.